This segment is really tackling a very important issue, a very important quality, I should say, characteristic of the Egyptian people. And when I'm talking about the Egyptian people, I'm talking about the Copts, whether they're Muslims or Christians, we are all Copts. And many incidents took place in the last few years, which were symbols of this unity. To tackle this and to talk in details about this topic, we are very much delighted to have with us Dr. Freddy Elbaiady, former parliamentary member. And sir, I think that this is going to be such a topic with you, but we have something else before we speak. I leave it to my dear colleague Dina Hussein.
We're going to go into a quick flashback, the day where the Egyptian Orthodox, the Coptic Orthodox Church celebrated Nativity, Christmas Day, and President Sisi defied all the security threats and the bloodhound fatwa of the extremists, and surprised the people who attended the mass there with a quick visit and a very short address or speech that fumed the whole hall there and cheered the people attending.
And people in front of the screens at homes, whether they are Muslims or Christians, in fact.
It was such a good gesture. So we're going to bring you a clip of it, and we'll come back with Dr. Elbaiady.
طب أنا بس عايز أقول كلمة صغيرة لكم يعني. اسمحوا لي إن أنا من فضلكم يعني. طيب أصل كان ضروري يعني كان ضروري إن أنا أجي لكم عشان أقول لكم كل سنة وأنتم طيبين. وأرجو إن أنا ما كنتش قطعت عليكم الصلوات بتاعتكم. وأنا عايز أقول لكم على حاجة. مصر على مدى آلاف السنين علمت الإنسانية وعلمت الحضارة للعالم كله. وأنا عايز أقول لكم إن العالم دلوقتي منتظر من مصر برضو في الأيام اللي احنا فيها دي وفي الظروف اللي احنا فيها دي إن احنا وإحنا كمان بنحبكم. طبعا.
Welcome back. Of course, our guest is a prominent former member of parliament, Dr. Freddy Elbaiady. And Dr. Elbaiady, we have just seen the head of state giving a very short, precise and concise address or speech to the people who attended, but a very important message to the whole world and a great lesson of solidarity and citizenship.
Sure.
So a very short note, but very, very important.
Yes.
He was giving a lesson and a message to the Western media and some hostile media outlets that try to tarnish his image, giving him the image of the tyranny. He just corrected that in a flash of a second, giving the right image of the head of state as a pious, modernized head of state who is looking forward towards a very, very prospective future.
Yes.
Prosperous
Of course,
future.
I see it a very beautiful and smart move that he made, surprising. It's a pity that in its unprecedented visit in the history of the Egyptian presidents, there is no single president who visited the cathedral during the mass celebration in the history of Egypt. And it's a pity actually that we usually it should happen as a custom, or people would expect the president to come and greet the Christians, and especially that we have the largest Christian population in the whole Middle East is in Egypt, and this is the largest church in the whole Middle East. The president made it in a great timing, and you could see the reaction of the people. It's unplanned reaction. They didn't know he's coming, and they were so cheerful and happy to receive the president, that he's coming by himself. He didn't just send a messenger or a telegram to say Merry Christmas, but he came by himself. It gave several messages. And I love the words he said when he said that we are all Egyptians. There is no different kinds of Egyptians. There's no Christian Egyptian or Muslim Egyptian, but we are all Egyptians. And this is the message that we should work on it. And I feel this is a very symbolic visit. It gives several messages. It gives a message to the people inside. I believe Christians and Muslims were happy with this visit. It's not only Christians, because many Muslims were very angry from the fundamental statements that made that we shouldn't congratulate Christians or greet them in their feasts. So the president broke all these, and he came by himself to say Merry Christmas to Christians. So both Muslims and Christians were happy with this visit.
Sir, Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you too. And also it gives a message to the whole world that we are in a security state, and he is not afraid to come in the among thousands of people. And it's very hard to have security control over the thousands of people attending the cathedral at this time. But he came just with no special protection. It's a very simple guards coming
Very
with him.
casual.
Yes, and unplanned. Nobody knew that he's coming, and he came just. He walked among the people to speak in a very slang words, unplanned, unwritten. So I believe it gives a very strong message to the whole world.
To the whole world, or to the Egyptians, or both?
Both. So I think first to the Egyptians, both Christians and Muslims, and then to the whole world that it's a security state. I didn't expect it myself, and in the same morning I was sitting with Pope Tewodros, congratulating him with a group of people, and somebody asked if the president would come or not. And my opinion was I said that I think he wants to come, but maybe the security conditions would prevent him or make it difficult for him to attend, because it's hard to control the security in this event. But he made it, and he gave this message, and I believe this symbolic visit should be a start, and we should work on implementing his words when he said that we are all Egyptians, there's no different kinds of Egyptians. Then we should work on making laws that interpret these words, work on the curriculums, education curriculums, and the awareness programs that interpret these words into real actions. So this, it's not the end. We didn't say that we have now full citizenship for all Egyptians by this visit, but it's a great start to start with and start
this is
working
exactly
on.
what Pope Tewodros II said right after the visit of President El-Sisi. Said that, of course, we do welcome and hail, of course, he hailed and welcomed the visit of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi to the cathedral during the Mass, and he said that it marks a new era for Egypt. But, you know, the timing of this, it's coming just 2 months before the parliamentary elections. Is it paving the way for Egyptians to think in a different way? Is it a message to say that political stability should be going in parallel with social stability, with unity, with proving to the whole world that we are one hand?
Yes, sure, it is. You cannot separate the different kinds of stabilities, but it's all they all interact together. And I believe this is a kind of social stability and a clear message to everybody. And now we are preparing for the third step of the road map plan, the parliamentary elections. I believe this is also another message to the whole world that we are now, because many people were suspecting that why we are delaying the parliamentary elections is because of the lack of stability, the lack of security. But now with the announcement of the exact dates for the elections, this gives another message. And I believe this will positively reflect to the tourism, to the economic conditions. And I followed some of the international reactions, the American Secretary of State and some people who were positively reacting to announcing the elections time, because there is no political life without a parliament, and we need to have a parliament. We need to have to fulfill and to complete all the foundations and the democratic organizations of the state.
Are we interviewing a candidate?
Of course, hopefully. He can say better than me, but Dr. Elbaiady, of course, as a former member of parliament, speaking about what was before, you have been in contact with different sectors of society, dealing with several problems and studying, have a full review of the Egyptian character with all the social problems that are associated with the Egyptian character. The pros and cons. But let's talk about intolerance and not accepting the other, you know, something that is different. This didn't exist in the 60s and 70s. Yes. I mean, we had Jews, we had Christians, we had Muslims living together in harmony, and none of these problems existed at all.
Relatively,
and suddenly,
yeah.
And suddenly that started with the, late 80s and 90s, and
Right.
started to intensify. So where do you see, how can you root out that problem, and so that we can be able to sort it out or resolve it?
Yes, I believe it's a complex problem, and the first thing that we start with, that we should confess that there is a problem. Because in many events, and I say this in different interviews and in the former parliament, that when there is a sectarial event or a clash between Christians and Muslims, people would say, no, there is no problem, we love each other, and you see this
priest and sheikh kissing each other, and that's
classic picture and
yeah.
saying good words about each other. And I said, no, we have to confess. I'm a medical doctor, and if the patient doesn't come to me and confess that he is sick, he will not get better. But if he said, no, I'm good, I don't need treatment, then he will keep getting worse. So we have to confess first that there is a problem. There is some fundamental roots that escaped into our society, and we're not used to this before. We used to have our Egyptian identity, to deal with each other as Egyptians, not regarding each other's beliefs or religion. But I believe the former regimes too, the starting from Sadat time and passing to Mubarak and the Muslim Brotherhood time, they manipulated these fundamental roots, and they wanted they knew how to use it for their interests, and how to, when they want to ignite these problems, they ignite it, and when they want to calm it down, they do it. So they use these things, and we had some ideas coming from outside with people who were traveling to the Gulf areas, and they came back with some fundamental teachings, and started to teach to each other. And we didn't work, former regimes didn't work how to fight back these ideas, not by, I don't mean by fighting by weapons, but also by teachings.
Ideologies,
yes,
fighting ideologies.
by using the curriculums of education. We need to look back to how we educate the children from the beginning. We don't teach our children that we have Egyptian friends, and we have to deal with them. I remember my boys didn't know that we have other religion in Egypt, unless they started to separate them in the religious classes. When they know that Christians will go to a class and the Muslims go to another class. And I believe this is something also you have to look at. And when the children grow up with each other, and they know that they are friends, and they say, why we have to be separated in the religious class? And do we really need to have this kind of religious education, or we can think of another way or another place to teach people about religion? The teachings people receive in Al-Azhar institutes is something we need to revise, and many people
Sure.
now are speaking about the books and the teachings they are receiving. We need to focus on this. So as I earlier said, the words of the president is a great start, but we have to implement it. We shouldn't stop that. The president said that we are all Egyptians. It's great, but we have to start
Implement
working
it on the ground.
and implement it. Yeah.
Yes. So, Dr. Freddy Elbaiady, Merry Christmas, first, second, and third.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and Happy New Year, and also for the Prophet Muhammad's birthday. It was the same time.
Same week.
Yeah, same week.
Yeah.
That's great occasions.
Sir, thank you very much for being with us, and thank you very much for your input.
Thanks for you. Have a good day.
Unfortunately, we are running out of time, so it's time to say goodbye. Of course, I enjoyed my time being my dear colleague Dina Hussein in this Saturday's episode of the Breakfast Show. Thanks a lot, Dina, and have a very good day.
Thank you very much, Nermeen. Until we see you tomorrow with another new crew, that's a goodbye.